obligatory bleary-eyed little vlog before setting off on our summer solstice ride. Yeah, it's 4:10. Dad's going to be here at 5 a.m. Coffee machine's on, heating up, most importantly. I've got loads of overnight oats with some cereal for breakfast. And I'm hoping I've prepared adequately. I think all should be good. It's the first time I've seen nighttime outside for a long time, because I go to bed and it's light, and I wake up and it's light. But yeah, sunrise soon. Hopefully it'll be warm enough. I'm really looking forward to it. So here we are leaving the town I live in. It was cold, like 8 degrees, so even though it was going to get hot, it's always important to remember just how chilly it gets. This is coming down to the marsh path that takes us into Wales, and there was that low-hanging morning fog like the dew through the fields, and we both had numb fingers, even though we were wearing our waterproofs for the day. But still, it was amazing to get up at sunrise and ride. I'd really recommend it to anyone if it's not something you've done before.
Hello ladies, how are you doing this fine morning? Hello. Apologies for filming from a noisy high street. We're in Denbigh, 60k in, give or take. So far so good, beautiful morning, and we stopped for some snacks before the first big climb of the day, the Sportsman's. So tucking into our rice snacks. Have you got a review, Dad?
Excellent.
There you go, excellent. I'm glad Dad has to say that because I made them. Right, wish us luck for the Sportsman's. Lit from the bottom of the Sportsman's. This is what the climb's like, really. It's sort of 2 to 5% snaking, mostly high bushes around the road, but it's long. It's another 8k at least. So yeah, time to settle in and just spin a bit.
So I'm weaving across the road here, trying to get a shot of the Clwyds to the left of me. But yes, this is the Sportsman's. It is a main road, so it's not one I would do often. It goes alongside the Road to Hell, which is a preferable climb for me. But this time of the morning, it was really lovely actually, and I forgot just how nice the views are. You come up to some really panoramic shots, and it's a great way to start the day. Really enjoyable. I appreciated this a lot actually. It's something that I'd forgotten. If you see behind me, those views down to the sea, you can see past my dad, and that's all the way out to Colwyn Bay. I was really delighted with how visible it was. And here we are coming to the top now.
For sale, if you want to buy a pub at the top of a hill on a main road.
Top of the moorland here, just past the Sportsman's pub, and it's unreal. The view of Snowdonia, you're not actually in Snowdonia, but it reminded me of when you approach the Rocky Mountains from Denver. It's just this exceptional vista of huge mountains on the horizon. Really jaw-dropping and absolutely terribly shot on this camera. I do apologise.
So we're at 9 a.m. That means we're 3.5 hours riding time, almost 4 hours elapsed time in. About 100k done. We're in the quiet little village of Penmachno, which is after the Sportsman's. About to do what's called on Strava Penmachno Climb from Hell. But as Phil Lovett will tell you, it's not. It's quite a nice climb. It's a good next one to get going. The cafe I had planned for our first stop isn't open yet because we're too fast. So we'll find somewhere else a little bit later on. So fortunately we got loads of food. I hadn't introduced Dad's musette bag. Look at that! Talk about prepared for a long ride. What have we got? Sorry, I shouldn't ambush with flapjack in his mouth. So yeah, flapjack and stuff. Right, next stop will be maybe the cafe in Trawsfynydd if that's what we choose to do.
So climbing out of the little hamlet of Carrog, not to be confused with Carrog near Corwin. This is Carrog near Cwm Pen Machno. So this is the Cwm Pen Machno climb. It takes you up to the top of the Ysbyty Ifan estate on Mignaint Moor. I think this is a really beautiful climb because it's a traditional Welsh like ridge line. There's a big valley, probably some glacial formation that I should understand, but I don't. And you basically climb up the side of this valley on a ridge on the mountainside, and it holds no secrets. You can see in that little dip ahead of me, you can see the house that's almost at the top of this climb. And although you can't make it out too well on the video, you can see the road going all the way up. So it's really fun, I think, to sort of see your progress as you're going and always have that reference point. Now, what's hard for me on this climb is that I know that it's steep at times, but there's a section of it that's way steeper than the rest that kind of averages, I think, 11 or 12%. The whole thing only averages maybe 8%. I've just made that number up, I don't actually know. But overall, it's not that tough of a climb, but it's got this like kilometre section in the middle that if I were going to go for a full gas effort, I would go really, really hard for this section, and I would do probably threshold or maybe slightly sub-threshold leading into it. But today isn't about attacking the hills as best we can. Today is about taking in the scenery and doing it almost as a tour. And look at that road snake back behind me as I come up. I think it's a fantastic piece of tarmac. I have ridden this both ways a lot of times because this isn't that far from where Rhiannon grew up, and I love it equally in both directions. It's a great descent. Once I descended this in the morning, and it was so foggy that you couldn't see the drop to the side of you, and it was a bit like descending into the unknown. So fortunately, I know it pretty well, and I could be confident that I could carry some speed, but it would have been terrifying if you didn't know the road, just like dropping off into nothingness. It does unfortunately end a bit unceremoniously. You go past this stunning farmhouse that's on the left of the shot now, but would be my right as I climbed it. This farmhouse on the top of a hill with a waterfall in its garden in the middle of nowhere is beautiful. And then you do an extra kilometre of this really boring moor road that's got an average grade of 1%, because that's officially the top of the climb. But hey ho, we want to get to the top, don't we? And now here we are out on the top of Mignaint Moor. This is what a lot of the locals call like the 8 mile stretch, or just the tops. You go over this stunning moorland road with nice views, a lot of abandoned quarries and stuff in areas around, so you can't really just hop off and walk around. You don't want to fall down a mine shaft, but it is lovely. And there's a lot of this area that you can look and you can see, as long as you ignore the road that you stood on, no evidence of human civilization, right? Not even a wall or a hedge planted by man. It is natural. And then you come over this to the view. This is the Cwnfal Valley, the River Cwnfal to my left here, carves this huge like gorge out of the mountainside. And you can see from this valley, you can see all the way down to Porthmadog, which is maybe 15 miles away, down to the sea. So that little mountain in the distance, I shouldn't say mountain, that little hill is Porthmadog, and it's lovely down there. And then you turn a corner again, and you have the Vale of Festiniog in front of you. That's the Moelwyn Mountains, and you'll know most famously Stwlan Dam is halfway up on the mountain there. You might be able to make out its white paint. I just think that this is all 15k of tarmac from when I left Pen Machno to here, and I just think it's some of the most densely packed, differing beauty you're going to find anywhere. It's just been stunning start to finish. And here we go, climbing out of the village of Llanfestiniog, which of course is the village I know incredibly well. You can tell I love these mountains, can't you? Because I've done a very heavy feature on them with Stwlan towering over us the whole time. But it is very pretty. Really enjoyed this part of the route.
So here I am again. The most peaceful lake/nuclear reactor cooling pool in the world, maybe. It's been a long ride to Trouse, and we're not even halfway yet. We've done 120k and about 2,000 meters of elevation, and this is our first cafe stop, just the visitor centre cafe. Between you and me, it's not glamorous, but it's perfectly serviceable. Got myself a cheese pasty and a coffee, and that'll keep me going for a while. So yeah, happy days.
Certainly kept me going / made me unable to shove anything else in, because a greasy cheese pasty is not great cycling nutrition, let me tell you that. It was very nice, but it probably wasn't the best thing to have at like 10:30. So now we're on to my favourite road on earth. I won't sugarcoat, I won't beat around the bush. I'll say this is my favourite road on earth about 10 times in this video, I'm sure. This is coming out of sort of Trawsfynydd over to Bala, but the very long way round past Abergydw. I did some reading about this area because it's like a complete unknown to me. Last time we were here, my dad said, why is there even a road here? It doesn't make sense. And the reason there's a road here is because the little holiday village called Bron Arbor that's behind me now, these days it's like a lovely holiday village with little chalets and caravans and stuff. But in World War II, it was an army camp, and they used all of this wide open space for artillery testing. So I hadn't realised this at the time, but as you go up, there's like signs on the left and right side of the road saying no trespassing, but if you read them, it's because they believe there may still be live mines and stuff in these hills, so there's a bit of added peril. When we did the back pedal sportif here, as we were descending it, I told Lee Baxter how much I loved it so much that he said, oh, I'll make sure your ashes get scattered here. And I said, you don't need to worry about that. I'm probably going to die on this road one day anyway. Just leave me at the side. And now I know that morbid joke might be more true than I think. Come off the road here. Who knows what you're going to run over? Old artillery shells or whatever. I actually prefer doing this road the other way, having done it this way now. This climb is great, and I'm really glad I went for a full gas effort up it. I did go full gas. I'd love to tell you, oh, I was holding something back, but really, I went flat out. But it has a few too many flats for me to find the climb that enjoyable. But there's lots of pitches, and lots of times that you really need to put the power up. You know, for me, I need to go up over 400 to get over each of these, and as the saying goes, ride the climb. So I did really enjoy it. The problem is, you can see that the view behind me is absolutely spectacular, world-class view, and the view in front of me is just rolling hills slowly getting higher. I do love a climb where you can see the road snaking out ahead of you, a bit like with Pen Machnar, and you can see that here in parts, like now, but you can't see it in all its glory, whereas the view behind is just something else. So that's why I'd say I prefer coming over it. But I am very happy with this. I did do a full gas effort, and I did get a top 10 on Strava. So I do think doing, 312 watts for 15 minutes when we were 100 something K in with 200 something K to go, I think that's really promising for me in my form at the moment. And I'm chuffed with the Strava top 10 on my favourite road. Doesn't matter which direction. Yeah, so that's a nice little token for me to enjoy from this ride. This gate never seemed to come. I was really pushing, and it just felt like it was always on the horizon. You may recognise this view. There he is, coming up my favourite road on earth. So yeah, this is my favourite road on earth. Absolutely, definitely. The back road from Bala to Trouse, over the ranges from Dolhendra. Oh, it's just unbelievable. I've never cycled it this way before. I had a full gas effort. Granted, full gas for being 100 and something K in and knowing I need to save my legs. But I'm very happy with it. What a beautiful day. We couldn't ask for more, could we? Look at this. Look at this backdrop. Look at this weather. It's everything we could have wanted. Crafty old fox, my dad, he said, going down this, there's enough uphill that you'll be much faster than me if you go for it. So why don't you shoot past me and open all the gates, and then I can come straight through and our average speed will be higher. Which I said is a great idea, and then I realised he's made me his gate bitch. But it did make sense. It was a lovely descent here, but really technical. Like, you couldn't carry speed through it, and I went too fast at times. It is windy as anything. And in a way, it's cool because you can sort of see it all ahead of you, but you don't really get a feel for these corners because there's no hedges, right? You don't really get a feel for how tight anything is until you get there, which probably makes it a lot of fun for good descenders, but I am not a good descender. I'd say I'm okay now, but I'm not a strong technical descender by any means. I'd consider myself quite slow, so I did struggle. And look at this, you get traffic on the road. Look at all this traffic. Get out of the way. Outrageous. Views down to Bala, beautiful of course. As I understand it, there's no more live mines around me. That's not this side of the mountain, thankfully. So yeah, that's good. And it was fun to see this from a different perspective. And it was also fun to know that my job for our team, our father-son team, my job was to smash it down here and get to the gate so quickly that I could open it for my dad, him not be impeded, close the gate again. By the way, a farmer saw me closing the gate and said thank you and have a nice day, and things like that just make my day. And then smash it on again. It was quite fun to have that really important task to do. This rear view footage just showing how sort of rugged the terrain is. I really like this little drop. And here's just a lovely little bridge over a river at the bottom. I enjoyed this footbridge next to a stone bridge. This is a rather inauspicious start to the Bolca-Groyes climb reverse. I know some people who say they've climbed Bolca-Groyes, but they've done this. This is not climbing Bolca-Groyes. It takes you to the top, but it's so much easier than its harder, meaner, bigger brother. It's a steady one for me today, but there's some really nice bits. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great climb. It's just not one worth fearing. I know that sounds mega gatekeeper of me to say, like, oh, this isn't Bolca-Groyes, the other side is Bolca-Groyes. But I think it's an important point that I know people who genuinely have ridden this side and gone, I don't know what the fuss about Bolca-Groyes is, it's not that hard. So I think it would help if they just had different names. Not to be like, you haven't climbed the proper climb, but just to clarify that, you know, one side is probably the hardest climb in Great Britain, and one side is just a really good but manageable climb for most people. And it is really pretty. I had forgotten how pretty it is because I've not done it for about 15 years. And last time me and my dad did it, it was at the start of a sportif, and it was like wall-to-wall cyclists. So you can see there's like these cliff faces on the left and crash barriers on the right, and there were just cyclists everywhere. And in my head we were flying past all of them, but I was like a 17-year-old boy then. Probably that's just ego talking, and we weren't doing that at all. I can't imagine we were. It's interesting to see all the different terrains as you climb out, because you start next to Llyn Tegid, the largest natural lake in Wales, in like traditional forest, and then you climb up some sort of rugged farmland, then you get into some old growth forest, and then you come out in this lovely rocky moorland, but it's quite craggy, I guess, and it has quite a different feel, even to the other side of this moor. So the mountain this goes up is called Aran Fawdwy, which I can't really tell you what it means. I think it's like the mountain of the River Mawddwy. But anyway, it's the highest mountain in Great Britain south of Snowdon. So generally, mountains get smaller and smaller the further south you go, with the biggest being in Scotland. Then Snowdon's obviously the biggest in England and Wales. And south of Snowdon, this is then the next biggest mountain, which I thought was a cool fact. Probably absolutely bored you, but there you go. I've got to fill the time as we climb up here. Coming to the top, this side actually looks almost identical to coming to the top from the other side. It's very similar, obviously, as one might expect. That's the little car park viewing point. I've probably put too much time of this shot in. I wasn't going full gas, but I was trying to go hard enough to box the climb off. And here you can see how my metrics are slightly out, because I can assure you I'm not doing 0 power and 0 cadence as I climb this relatively steep section. It was nice that it's a nice day, so at least there were a couple of tourists up enjoying the views from the top, and rightly so, because look behind me. This is what I got to see if I dared to turn my head. Pretty cool views, and it's nice to know that those mountains that are on the horizon, those are the Arenig Mountains, and that's where my favourite road goes over, so you can kind of see for, you know, so far where we've been, which is cool. On top of the Bolkagroyas. The easy way, admittedly. It's a lovely climb though. It's really nice coming this way as well. It's not the hard climb, but stunning. I'm gonna go back down and meet my dad now, I think. It's a long one to do on your own, so I feel a bit bad leaving him. I think I'll go and keep him company. He was fine, of course. This might be the clearest I've ever seen the view down the Bolkagroyas proper. This valley was absolutely exceptional, but unfortunately it took a 90-degree turn of my head to the right to see it, and I couldn't do that with my camera whilst doing this corner, so you miss it, unfortunately. Would have been a great shot. I haven't done loads of time going down to Vernwy on this because you've seen that plenty before, but it was a very nice day for it. Top of Hinant Pass again. What a beautiful day, what a beautiful location, what a beautiful route. I think my dad is struggling now. Top of Bolkagroyas, he told me he was feeling lightheaded. Got a gel in him, fixed him up a bit, but he said he's just going to go super steady. Survival mode. We're only halfway through, but we have done the lion's share of the climbing. We've done over 3,000 meters of climbing. It's 4,500 total. So there's one more big hill, the Berwyn Pass. We roll down to Bala from here, and I think we will stop in Bala for some lunch. Feels like we didn't stop that long ago, but I think we need to be sensible, get fueled, and most importantly, hydrate. It might only be 20 degrees, but going up all these hills, there's very little wind to cool us off. I've done 4 litres of water already today. I'll probably do more. Yeah, I'm going to go back for my dad again. So although I featured this heavily several times, this is the descent of Hinant Pass. It's fantastic. I just think it looks really nice. I'm really sorry if you're bored of it. I just keep putting it in because I think, wow, it's you know, it's quite visually stunning, this valley with its steep sides and the road being the only thing you really see, and of course Avon Hinant, that's the river that has carved out this valley. I think it's really cool. It was nice to properly, you know, get a bit of speed going down it, see if we can do over 70 kph. And it was completely clear. Yeah, I thought it might be a bit busier with tourists, but I was wrong. There you go. And now we're down at Llyn Tegid. That's Lake Bala. It was a week and 2 days ago that we were stood here in the miserable weather. So we're at Tea Coffee in Bala again. It's becoming a staple at this point. Lunchtime, coffee, Coke, big sandwich. Maybe too much sandwich, but got to force it in. Yeah. Phil Lovett kept saying that the Mallorca 312 is called the eating Gran Fondo. So I guess trying to do some eating, not very Mallorcan eating, but egg baguette. We've done 180k in 7 hours, 3,000 meters of ascent, average speed 25.5. I'm hoping we can bump that up. Now we're over almost all the mountains. Just Berwyn Pass to go, and then flat home. So unlike last time I climbed the Berwyn Pass, I remembered to turn my front-facing camera on this time. My dad had said, you know, you just go ahead and do it at whatever pace you want. Because he said, if I sit and spin with him, it's not going to give me a representative average speed for what I'd be capable of. Which, first off, I didn't really care about because it's not the point of the day. But second off, it's far too late to say that on the final big climb of the day. But also, it didn't really make sense to do that because this is easily one of the most draftable climbs. So what we agreed was that I'd not smash it, but I'd go fairly hard on this first steep section, which is kind of 8-9% for a kilometre or so. And then, because I don't care about my time on Strava up here, I'm not going for anything. I'll just wait as soon as it levels off, and then there's loads and loads of more land that's 1, 2, 3%. And I'll just make sure I give him a draft and carry the musette bag to help. So here we are coming over the tops again. I haven't included quite as much of this footage, but it was lovely. And And that's where my front-facing camera dies, I'm afraid. So that's the end of the front footage for today. Here's a short, sharp climb in Shropshire. There's a thing with my speech impediment that's very hard to say. But it was very nice, like funny, almost like rainforest we came through. And finally, this is what's called Fairview Climb. It was our actual last climb of the day, not last big climb of the day, like last climb at all of the day. And it's a really nice hill. I think if I didn't have 200k in my legs, you'd have to treat it as a VO2 effort. You know, I'd be looking at sustaining over 400 watts for this and treating it as a 5-ish minute effort. As it was a 7.5 minute effort at around threshold for me. But I thought I wanted to go full gas on it. Just, it's nice to see what you're capable of. When you know you've got that much fatigue, I quite like the idea of going, well, what are my limits? You know, even if it means I try and do 350 watts for 1 minute and I completely blow up, well, at least I've tried, and next time I know and there's something I can do better on, or maybe I'm capable of it. This hairpin was really nice. You can see the view behind me of called the Tanat Valley. That's what we've come down for quite a while. Absolute numpty that I am. I said to my dad, oh, this is the last climb of the day. So I'm just going to go full gas and see what I've got in the tank. Now that's all well and good. The last climb of the day does not mean that we're nearly done. Distance 222 means we've got 100k to go. That'll be 100k of sitting on the front for me. Probably shouldn't have tried to do a 350 watt 8-minute effort there. I didn't do 350 watts by any means. That was what I was trying. I'd be surprised if I'd done 300 at this point. I'm pretty tired, but oh, what a beautiful spot. I think, if you so desire, I think this is a rental property here, a holiday home called Fairview. The climb it's on is amazing. I'm not going back down any of it to show you, but I might have some footage from it. Right, onwards to Oswestry. And there's my dad's final few seconds of the climb in my rear view camera. I hope it's apparent quite how hot it is, and I was loving it. Here we come now down through Oswestry. We were really struggling. That lovely cafe we stopped at is on the right of the screen here, but we couldn't stop because they didn't serve food at this time. It was either too early or too late for lunch or dinner. Now we're coming through, I don't even know where this is. This is a castle I pointed out last time, but from the rear view, very nice. You may be able to tell that at this point, I am really struggling to find interesting things to put on the camera. This was almost 100 kilometers of our journey, so I didn't want to not document it, but my God, is it boring. There's just not much to see. It's like perfectly nice to ride. I don't want to sound like I'm being a proper downer on Shropshire and Cheshire, but when you're on farm lanes with high hedges, it all kind of looks samey. So even this crossroads in Overton was apparently interesting enough to make the cut. I do apologise. I hope you can kind of tell from my dad's demeanour, and maybe not mine because you can't see me, but we were fully done by this point. We were still having a nice time. We weren't grumpy, but it was very much like, let's just get home now. This is just get it done. And now my rear view camera dies as well. So we're at the bottom of the Greenway now. 287 kilometers done, so we're not quite at the 300 kilometer mark, but still a decent way. That's about 60 kilometers more than last time I filmed from here. Fair to say I'm tired. How you feeling, Dad?
Very tired.
We're gonna get home though, aren't we?
We are, absolutely. On your wheel.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna be on my wheel. So yes, it's been a nice day. It's gonna be a slog home. I don't normally want my double Imperial Centuries to come with 60 miles of headwind at the end, but it was a very gentle breeze. It just felt like gale force at this point in the ride. So yeah, onwards to home. I want to go to bed. Time for everyone's favourite part of the show, bath time with Nick. I really needed this bath. God, I feel terrible. I think I'm sunburnt all over, even though I put factor 50 on this morning. Legs feel okay. I managed to get a Rego in me when I got in, but I didn't want it. Got my alcohol-free beer. Excellent. All's well. Send me to bed. I've had an amazing day. Really, really great day. I really enjoyed it. But I was ready to get off my bike when I got home, I'll tell you that. So 2 days later, I'm feeling vaguely human again. Yesterday I was just shattered. Nothing hurt that shouldn't hurt, so I felt like that was a win. But I was exhausted. I was really a bit of a zombie at work. I did my commute in. I did it in zone 0. This morning I've done like a 3 watt per kilo for 45 minutes kind of spin with Bowie, and my legs are still tired but feeling okay. So I'm going to go do hill reps later. I think I'm alright. Let's see the day. So 324 final scores on the doors. That's 201 something miles, I believe. Moving time, it's a shame we couldn't come in under the 12, but it wasn't about that for us. So yeah, very happy with that. Average speed of 26.8 is still pretty quick for a 200 mile ride with 4,674 meters of elevation. That's crazy, isn't it? So look over the route again. It looks relatively gentle to start. This is just up my local climbs, the Green and Recessmore, that's the word, over London Bridge. This is where I'd say the mountains started. It was really hard, but I think we got to this point around 100k and we were both feeling pretty confident, pretty good, and it feels like you're a long way from home then. So it's like, wow, we've come here pretty quickly. You know, we've made it all this way over a big mountain that is Mynyddig, that's the Sportsman's. Then we go up Pen Machno and it looks lovely. And then I think we started to struggle. We stopped at Llantraws, which is here. We stopped for food at Llantraws, which made sense. We were 5 hours in. Then it became a bit of a slog up my favourite climb, which, by the way, here we go. I got some achievements on, which I'm quite happy with. 6th overall on the climb, and that was an average power of 312 for 14 minutes. You know, it's not anything to write home about, but for being so far into this ride and with so far to go, I was chuffed. Then from Balor onwards was just a bit of a slog, to be honest. All of this was kind of headwind. The prevailing wind was this way. So when we got to Wirral, it was a cross, but for all of this ride, it was head, which was tough. All in all, I really enjoyed the opportunity to push myself and see what we were capable of, and kind of doing it together with my dad to see what we could both manage was fantastic. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.